Hello, all my lovely stitchy friends. How are you all? It is Sunday, the 29th of October, and this is Flosstube number 21. My name is Sally, and some of you know me as Flossie Sews and Grows here on YouTube and also on Instagram. Welcome to all of you, my regular viewers, and if you're new as well, it's lovely to have you join me to be here talking about stitching, predominantly cross stitch. I've had a really wonderful couple of weeks since I last saw you 2 weeks ago. Some highs and a low or two, but we're here and good times have been had. I was at Stitch in London last weekend, which was absolutely amazing. It was just wonderful. So I'd really like to tell you about that. But I have got lots of haul from Stitch in London, and lots and lots of stitchy kindness and goodies that I received at that retreat. But first of all, I will start with my stitching. So my very first piece to show you, I haven't actually got because it was part of the Smalls exchange for Stitch in London. So it was a start, a finish, and a fully finish from the last time I saw you. I started it, I think I started it just after I'd filmed my last Flosstube. So that was my small exchange for Stitch in London. I'm going to pop a picture up here, and it's a pattern from a chart from I just thought I had something on my face then, but I think it's my glasses reflecting slightly with the lights. It was a chart from the Proper Stitcher, and a little chart called Music Gives My Soul Wings, and it was a chart that was gifted by Annie, who's the Proper Stitcher, to anyone who bought charts from her during the last needlework market. And excuse me, I bought Steampunk Percy and Steampunk Penelope, so that chart came with those purchases. And it was picked by Tina, and I'll show you a picture later of Tina getting it when I talk about Stitch in London. So that was my first start, finish, and fully finished object. I did have another finish though. I did have a finish, and this is the Stitchers Retreat House from Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery, and it was a pattern that I had started at the Chatelaine Retreat in Crewe, and I wanted to finish it for Stitch in London. So I finished it during Stitch in London. So as you can see, it is absolutely beautiful. Really loved stitching this. I've stitched this on 36 count fabric by Fabrics by Crafty Kate, and it was one of her fabrics of the month. So it's a very pale pink. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Now, if you can remember me telling you, I was planning on, I'd left quite a lot of fabric at the bottom, and I was planning that during Stitch in London, everybody who was there would be able to do their initials. Well, there were 72 people at Stitch in London, and I felt, as I'd worked, as I was getting towards the end of it and I'd got that writing in, I thought, actually, I'm not entirely sure that that's what I want to do. So if you can remember, I had started this as a stitch along with Charlie from Stitches with Charlie Feathers, and we had, oh, I can't remember the hashtag. It was hashtag Stitchy Friends Retreat Together Sal, I believe. So what actually I did in the end was, at the retreat, I asked Charlie to put her initials on this lady, and then I put my initials on this lady. So Charlie said to me, shall I put my real initials for my real name, which are 3 because she has a double-barreled name, or shall I put Charlie Feathers? And I said, oh, put Charlie Feathers. So there's a little CF here for Charlie Feathers, and a little SR there for Sally Richards. So I'm so pleased with this. Charlie still is finishing hers, but I was quite determined I was going to get it finished for the retreat, so I'm absolutely thrilled with that. It was a really lovely stitch, predominantly stitched in DMC, the called for DMC. I think there were 2 that I had to substitute, and actually just as I was finishing this, Sarah from Samey Sarah came over and admired it, and once I'd finished it, I actually gifted her the chart so that she has another chart just in case she's short for when we do our 50 new starts for 50 in 2024, which I'll also tell you a little bit more about later. Words are still coming out, and it was lovely at the retreat actually, because there were a few other floss tubers similar age who we have the conversations of how words sometimes get really muddled up. And actually there was one poor lady, she was so lovely, my new friend Karen, who I think I called her Annette for the first couple of hours of the retreat, and then I wanted to call her Janet and kept getting her name wrong, and definitely hormonal brain. So Karen, it was lovely to meet you, and thank you so much for being so kind when I kept getting your name wrong. And it's funny, I don't know, I've always prided myself on being really, really good at names, and just in the last 12 months, poof, they just go out of my brain. So my first WIP, sort of finish, my first WIP that I've been working on, it is Christmas coming up, and I pulled out a WIP that was started last year, and it was a stitch along that was started by Marie from Stitches and Diamonds. And I'm going to show you from a distance. I haven't got a picture. I bought this as a PDF. So this is Deck the Halls from Crowthreet Stitching. So that's the small. I have got a bigger version of that chart, but that's a small one that I have got printed out. So I'd made a start on this last year, and not got incredibly far with other Christmas stitching that I was doing. And this is, so I've picked it up again and got the lady's head finished some more on the Christmas tree. I haven't got a picture of this, I don't think, the last time I did it. Finished the Christmas tree, done the little dog here, started on the holly, nice hanging thread, and started to get this table done as well. So I think this is stitched on 32 count. It's a mystery fabric out of my magic stash bag, and I'm stitching it predominantly with the called for DMCs that Ruthie from Crow's Feet Stitching charted with this. So fabulous bit of stitching. I think the last time I stitched on it had been the Chatelaine retreat, which was June or July, and I'd done the outline of that skirt, and I'd filled it in at the retreat when I'd got a little bit of a chance to stitch. So that is my first WIP. I don't have actually many WIPs this time, because the WIPs I have got, I have stitched quite a lot on, so I've not been doing, and of course I was at a retreat, and I think I took 7 projects with me, and Elaine from Ellie Welly Stitcher commented on my last video that maybe 7 or 8 was too many to take because I wouldn't stitch on them all, and I didn't, but they were nice to have with me because I was able to show them, do a bit of show and tell to a couple of people who I was either doing stitch alongs with, or we'd started the chart or we were both doing it, so it was nice to have them, though I really didn't do a huge amount of stitching. My second WIP is from the Winds of Autumn book by Blackbird Design, and it is Mighty Oak. I think many of you know this sampler very well and love it, and lots of people I know are stitching it, and I made quite a lot of progress with this actually since you last saw it. I'm just trying to think if I have got a picture of it the last time you saw it, I will pop it up so that you can see where I got up to. But just before Stitch in London, I managed to do the windows and kind of block the house a little bit so that I could just sit and do the house, as much of the house as I could while I was at the retreat. So I've done quite a lot of the house. Now the house is charted in this colour of the flower, but Kate from Fabrics by Crafty Kate and I had talked about changing the colour of the house. I've changed it to Weeks Dye Works Blue Jeans, and Kate is going to stitch it in red, and then she's going to have a blue door and I'm going to have a red door because I've got a red door in my house. And I actually had also seen Handmade by Sarah W had also changed the colour of the house, and she changed it to blue too. And I saw her version, her finished version, and it looked brilliant. So when I saw that, Kate and I had been talking about it since we started the SAL, which was quite a while ago. And so just seeing Sarah's reinforced my plan to do it in the blue. So really pleased with that. And I think I have made some progress up here. I've started doing this leaf. I've also finished the writing, and I'm not sure if I've done this. I'd done the flower, but I'm not sure if I'd done this. I think I did this just before the retreat as well, so that I had the bits here stitched, so I didn't stitch over them by accident with the house. But loving this, loving this. It's really that house is, you know, when you're tired in the evening, that house is quite good to just sit and stitch. And then my final whip of my third one is The Four Seasons by Barbara Anna. And oh, I'll just say that is, so this is a 40 count linen, and it's again a mystery linen out of my mystery stash bag, and I'm stitching it predominantly with a mix of the Called For DMC and Weeks Dye Works. So next whip, Four Seasons from Barbara Anna. And I think when you saw this, I'd started working on the Autumn Lady, and I think I'd done her bodice of her dress, and I'd started the top of the dress here. Well, I normally stitch on this on a Wednesday with my friend Sally from @StitchySally, and do you know what? I have really got the bit between my teeth, and I've not been able to put this one down. So look at where I have got to. I have got all of that skirt finished, and I've started working up here. So I have just loved stitching on Miss Autumn over the last couple of evenings, and predominantly this has been stitched since Wednesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I've kind of had 4 evenings where I've done a little bit of Mighty Oak, and I've done lots of this. I think if you can remember, I'd kind of got the skirt for the Summer Lady really quite a bit more delicate, a little bit more kind of tiny stitching, and I'd kind of come to a bit of a standstill, and then moved on to the Autumn Lady thinking I needed a big block of colour to stitch that was going to be easy, and actually just got my love back for it. So I'm really pleased with that. And I think initially I'd thought that this might be one that might go over into 2024, that I wouldn't finish it this year, but I think the progress that I've made and the speed that I've managed to work on the Autumn Lady, I think probably, hopefully, I've got to do obviously spring Lady on this side and Winter Lady on this side. I think I could probably get this finished in 2023 and get this finished before the end of the year if I put my mind to it. So really pleased with my progress on that one. And actually just a little bit of haul that I did before I went to stitch in London was 2 nerd hoops, which I got from Kate at Fabrics by Crafty Kate, and she's got some stock of nerd hoops which she will be putting on her website probably after the weekend, because she's at the Yorkshire retreat this weekend as a vendor, and she'll have taken them with her, but she will also, I think, be able to take pre-orders for nerd hoops. So I have to say I am a massive convert. This is a number 4, I believe, the big one, and I like this. It's bigger than my hoop and it's nice and light, but I know a few people use a stand, put them in a stand, and that may be something I think about doing. It's just perhaps a little bit too big, but I think when you've got a big big project, that it's going to be really, really good. This is a number 3. Yeah, a number 3, which is a 220 millimeters. I love this size. This is just such a really great size if you're a hoop stitcher. Just absolutely love it. So probably I'm going to buy another number 3, and I'd like to try the next size down as well for smalls, because I do stitch a lot of smalls. So I think it'd be really great to have a smaller one as well. So that was a bit of haul from before Stitch in London. So my plans. So I think you all know have a massive challenge next year to do 50 new starts in 2024 with Sarah from Sew Me Sarah, to celebrate our 50th birthdays. So really my plans over the next couple of weeks are getting prepared for that, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But also I have got now 10 whips. I went down, I think 2 months ago I had 20, and I've been trying to getting things finished. So I've now got 10 whips left, which I might see if I can work on all 10 over the next 2 weeks, touch all 10, just so that I can then show you where I'm up to with them perhaps on my next Flosstube. That might be an idea. And I'm definitely, it's Black Sampler November, starting 1st of November. And I'm not going to start a new sampler for that. I am going to finish, my aim for November will be to finish Be Not a Dunce, which is from Mama Loves You GB, which I started last November. So my aim will be to get that one finished. I will have I still need to do a new start for the seasonal sale. So I should have started Autumn Seasons of the Heart from the Blue Flower on the first day of autumn, and I didn't, so I still need to do that. And then I've got 10 whips, so there will be 1 or 2 that I know I won't be able to finish. I won't be able to finish Remember Me from Teresa Koga. That's too big a one. But I'm hoping that I'll be able to make quite a dent into getting predominantly most of those 10 finished. Watch this space. So yes, so 10 new starts for 50 with Sew Me Sarah. Ha! Yes, we're crazy, absolutely bonkers. But we met in Stitch in London last weekend, and we went and sat and had a coffee together away from out of the stitching room, and sat down and had a really good chat about what we were both expecting from doing our challenge, and you know what we both wanted to do, and how we were going to work it together. So lots of ideas. And I think I said to Sarah, our first and only rule, is that there are no rules. You know, it's quite a big challenge, and I think, you know, we just both want to have fun, and we really want to take you along for that fun with us. So, you know, we're really hoping that you'll come and join in. Now, you know, there were a couple of people. Met Ros Clark at Stitch in London. Hilarious. She's lovely, Ros. And she's 50 next year, and she just said to me, no, can't do it. There's no way I can do 50 new starts. But, you know, we hope that we'll have some prompts, and we'll have some ideas that we can take you along, and perhaps you can think, okay, I'm going to start this to help celebrate Sally and Sarah's birthday. This will be the one that I will do to do that. So Sarah filmed, I think yesterday or the day before, and did her little recap of Stitch in London, and started talking about our challenge, and asked you for some ideas for some prompts. So I'm going to ask you as well if there's any prompts that you think. So things like, you know, stitch something with an owl or a bird, stitch with a red thread. So just giving us some little challenges that we can incorporate into what we're doing next year. And, you know, if there's things then that you would like to join in. So if we're doing a bird chart, and we'll say, right, we're both doing a bird chart, we're going to do a different bird chart from each other. Come and join in and stitch a bird chart with us for start number 20, something like that. So comment below if there's anything that you think would be a great prompt. It was really funny when I listened to Sarah. She said, you know, stitch a banana, and I was thinking, are there any charts out there with a banana in them? I'm not sure, but yes, that might be one that I say to Sarah. No banana stitching. We'll see. Yes, so we really hope you'll join us on our adventure, and stitch one of our prompts with us, and we will, we'll talk a little bit more. We've got plans, we've got spreadsheets. We both love a spreadsheet, so it just was so fabulous to meet Sarah and to start talking about what we're going to do next year. And we're already, lots of messages going backwards and forwards and planning, and it's going to be great fun. It's going to be great fun. So, Stitch in London, wow, what a weekend. Thank you, Marie from Stitches and Diamonds, for organising such an amazing weekend. And just, it was awesome. I can't begin to explain how wonderful it was to be in a room with 70 odd other people who have the same passion for cross stitch as I do, and just, wonderful to meet people that you see here on Flosstube, that you chat with on Instagram. Just really wonderful, and just so much friendship and happiness and support. It was really really lovely. Unfortunately, my Stitch in London didn't get off to too great a start. So the UK was hit by Storm Barbette, and I got to the train station. My mum kindly took me to the train station on Friday morning, and as I was arriving at the train station, a message came through on Trainline to say that the part of my journey had been, one of the trains had been cancelled. So my train from Shrewsbury, I could only get as far as Shrewsbury. The train from Wolverhampton had been cancelled. So I'd been there quite early because we, weren't sure on the traffic on a Friday morning, rush hour traffic. So we were at the station quite early, and the rain was horrific. I had already had to drive my daughter to the bus stop because the road into the estate that we live on was flooded. So the road and the pavement, children in school shoes couldn't get out of our estate without getting their feet wet. So I'd driven her and then actually driven back, and one of our friends' daughters was stood on the other side of this massive mass of water and just looking at it. And so jump in the car, took her as well. So I was already a bit, there's water everywhere. My partner had phoned and said, Felicity won't be able to get out of the estate walking, so go and pick her up. So there's already a lot of water in our village. As I'd driven her to the bus stop, there was a grid in the kitchen, in the middle of the road, a grid in the middle of the road that had already popped out, and there was just water all going down the road, and just a huge amount of water. Luckily, when my mum had come and picked me up, kind of 45 minutes later, the entrance to our estate was much better. Some of the water had started to drain away, but there was just so much water on the road. And so we got to the station and got this message that this part had been cancelled. Went in and spoke to the lady behind the desk at the train station, and she had said, it's carnage. I said, can I get to Chester and get a train from Chester to London and then up to Watford? And she just said, no, Chester, there's a tunnel between Chester and Crewe, and they've had to shut the line there because the tunnel's flooded. And anyway, the train I was supposed to be on, I thought, well, I can get as far as Shrewsbury, and then maybe I can get another train from Shrewsbury and avoid Wolverhampton, go through Birmingham. And half an hour later, because I was quite early for the train, the train I should have been on was getting later and later. And then the next thing they said, there's no trains going south of Shrewsbury, it'll be buses. And my mum just said to me, please don't travel, please don't go. And I said, I'm going to go home and I'm going to get in the car. And she said no. And I went back into the station, and the security guy at the station said, that's the motorway that you want to go on, and the motorway was shut because it was flooded. So I came home. On the way home, my partner phoned, and he's a teacher. He does a lot of supply work, and he was in a school local to us, and their canteen was flooded. So he was on his way home. So he'd messaged our daughter to let her know that he would be at home in case her school closed. I got home, and the next thing she sent a message, and there was a message from school to say we are closing. And Flintshire closed all of the schools. My partner, it took him quite a while to get home because there were, and because there were the roads closed because of the floods. They closed the bypass on our village. They'd closed. I couldn't have got to Chester to the train because the expressway to Chester was closed because of flooding. My daughter, so the bus company had said to school, there's so many roads that are being closed, we don't know if we'll be able to get the children home at 3 o'clock, so we will come now and pick up the children and get them home. So luckily the bus came and picked her up, and she got home. And I was at home, and my partner just said to me, I'm going to make you a coffee, you go upstairs and you stitch. You shouldn't be here, you should be stitching, go and stitch. So I came up to my sewing room and I sat, and I messaged Marie, I messaged Charlie, she was travelling from Cornwall to London, and I wanted to make sure she was okay. And she had a few problems, but she got there. And I was looking at the weather, I was really pleased actually that my mum had persuaded me not to go on that train, because I would have maybe got as far as Shrewsbury, but I wouldn't have been able to get back again. So I sat and I stitched for the afternoon, looking at the weather, looking at the trains, and some friends messaged and said, oh, can Felicity look after our guinea pig? We're driving down to Cardiff tonight. Their daughter had an open day at Cardiff. I was like, oh, maybe I could drive. And it was starting to get dark, and I just thought, no, I don't want to go in the dark. So I made the decision not to go that night, and I was so upset. I didn't cry. I wanted to, but I didn't cry, and but I was really, really sad. And I know that we didn't have any damage to our home. The water did drain away. Our scout hut here, they thought was going to flood. The water in the car park around it got really high, and lots of people went and took sandbags and really worked hard to do that. But I know there was terrible devastation in other parts of the country, and especially Scotland, and my heart goes out to anyone who I know. I think it's Sammy from Little Loop Stitching had to evacuate her home, and Sammy, my heart goes out to you. I hope that you're okay now, and we weren't anywhere near that devastation, but just disruption of travel plans and days. So really, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't too bad. But I was lucky. My other half got me upstairs, got me stitching. He did everything else. He walked to our local shop and bought junk food for tea, because his and Felicity's plans were for the weekend changed. She was supposed to be dancing, and the dance school closed for the evening, and so all our plans just changed. And I kept an eye on the weather. They opened the motorway later that night. So I just thought, right, I'm ready to go. Everything was packed. I'd taken some stitching out to stitch, and I just made the decision that I was going to get up in the morning and I was going to go. And I set my alarm for I think 5:45, and I was going to try and leave, get up and go. Anyway, I woke up before my alarm. I woke up at 5:30, and I was on the road at 6 o'clock. And I arrived in London at 9 a.m. and that's when I cried. I walked into the stitching room, and Rosie from Rosie X Stitches just looked at me and saw me and went, oh, you're here. And she gave me the biggest hug. And then I went and caught up with Marie, and Marie was like, oh my goodness, you're here, it's amazing. And then Charlie, I yelled across the room her name, she just came running over and gave me the biggest hug. And it was just it was wonderful. It was wonderful to be there. And although I was late, I got there and I got there safely. And that was the start of an amazing weekend. So it was great. It was great. So first things first, I checked in with Marie and got my retreat pack. So my retreat pack came a little great new project bag. Do I need 50 for next year? Maybe not. So retreat pack of stuff, and in there is I'm not going to take it out because it's crinkly, but some 36 count country vintage mocha, which was there to stitch on our exclusive pattern from Modern Folk Embroidery, which had been designed by Jacob, and this is 10 Merry Sailors and Their Loyal Dog. Fabulous stitch in London. I think this is a dog. I know there wasn't much debate about this chart, and Whitney from the States, I think she renamed it, and I think she messaged Jacob and said we've renamed it as 9 Merry Sailors, one who hasn't got a head, and a sea monster. So it's great. And actually Whitney started it, and I think she finished it on the plane on the way home, and yeah, lots of people started stitching it over the weekend. I haven't as yet, but the we got some Roxy Flosco floss to stitch that with, and actually this is a colour I'd already got. This is Great Lakes, and I would say it's one of my favourite colours. So this was one of the colours that was in September's Revenge by Ellen from Maximum Cross Stitch, and so I already had used that, and it's a brilliant colour. I love it, so couldn't ask for a better colour to go in there. So the other thing that was in that pack was from Girl with a Gavel Stitches. This is by Chloe, and this is Stitch in London Twin Bird Pincushion. Now Sarah and I have already discussed this, and I think she meant to say in her video yesterday, but I think she said I'm going to talk about this later, and I think she might have forgotten to, but I think we have pretty much decided that this might be our first new start of our 50 new starts for 2024. It's a nice small, and yeah, we told Chloe at the retreat that that's probably what we would do, and she was got a big hug from it. So that is fabulous, a lovely chart. We also got a sample from Roxy Floss Co of Titanium, which is a lovely kind of pale grey colour, which I've got a feeling, I think Sarah has already had some suggestions for prompts on her floss tube, and I think a lady had suggested that we could stitch in grey, silver or grey, to go with our hair. So that is probably going to be a really good thread to use. So in that pack, and I'm not dwelling on all of these too much, because I know I've already seen Sarah show these, and Michelle as well from Mama Loves You GB. I've already showed what we've had in the pack. So we also had a little embellishment pack that Marie had put together of little things, and I'm really pleased with some little 2023 little, we can't see those there, little pins that I'm going to be able to, oh, is that a 2024 one as well? Oh, there's some 2023 and some 2024 little things that I'm going to be able to put on things there. We had a Stitch in London needle minder. Couldn't think what it was called then. Luckily it was written on the back that it's a needle minder. Needle minder from Cotton and Clay. And then my lovely friend Charlie. So Charlie Feathers. If you want to have a look at her, you can with that QR code. She'd done a special hand-painted, handmade floss drop for every single participant. So these are painted and drawn by Charlie. She is just such a talent. She's not just a wonderful, lovely person. She's just really talented, and everybody got a special, unique floss drop. And Then we'd also, so these were actually all on our table from the lovely Yasmin Made with Love. We got a little pack with a Noel gnome and a Halloween gnome, and also a little, these are little cards that Yaz, I've already actually got one of these up there somewhere, but Yaz gives these, sends you one of these when you buy a chart from her, and it's just got a little, and actually you'll see a finished one of that shortly. So that says to my friend. So it's a lovely little small that's great for stitching for friends. So I had my pack, and I went and sat down. So the lovely Charlie had saved me a seat next to her. So I was on table 3 with Charlie, with Yaz from Yasmin's Made with Love, Hazel, who is just an absolute darling. You'll see some of the lovely things that Hazel gifted me. And I'd seen Hazel on our Zoom call, so I'd not talked to her before, but seen her on Zoom and just thought, well, she's nice. She's nice. We're going to be friends. And then Anne Marie, who spends her time between Ireland and, I think, oh goodness, I think somewhere in the southwest. I can't remember where she said now, but lovely to meet Anne Marie. And the room was incredibly hot, certainly on the Saturday morning, really warm. And Anne Marie actually got some knitting out as well, because she didn't want to stitch because she was too hot to stitch, so she did a bit of knitting. And then 2 lovely ladies, Emily and Lolly. It was really funny. They weren't there initially when I first arrived in the stitchy room, and I think both nights they stayed up late watching scary movies. So they're both stitched quite a lot of different stuff to what I stitch, but actually Lolly sat down and she started stitching on the Supernatural Sal. I was like, oh, I remember you, Lolly. I'd seen you stitching that on Instagram and knew that you were coming to stitch in London. And I challenged Lolly for us to both finish the Supernatural Sal by the time we got to stitch in London, and show each other our finished Supernatural Sal. And neither of us had finished it. I took it and I showed it to Lolly, so we compared them, and it was great because I'd stitched it on fabric dyed by Sophie from the Stitchy Ferret, and I also showed it to Sophie, which was lovely. She really admired it. It was great. So it was really lovely to meet Lolly and sit there and go, oh yeah, neither of us have finished our Supernatural Sal, but I know she's posted on Instagram this week. She showed some more progress because she stitched on it at Stitch in London, and she stitched on it again this week, and mine is coming out. Mine will be finished by the end of 2023. So if you're into your slightly darker stitching, Lolly I think stitches quite a lot of witchy stitch here. And that type of stitching. Go and have a look at her Instagram, and also I watched her Flosstube this week. She's really lovely. So that is Lollipop Stitches on Instagram and on Flosstube. So it was really nice. It was funny that we'd, I think it was quite early on in the year, maybe February, April, not long after we'd booked our tickets for Stitch in London, or we'd got on, maybe even earlier actually. And suddenly just to be sat next to Lolly and go, oh yes, we had a challenge. And yeah. So lovely table 3. It was great. Lots of lovely stitches and lots of fun. And so there were some table gifts. So arrived at my little spot when I sat down on the Saturday. There were already a table gift from lovely Charlie. So these I think are jelly floss drops. So again, these are ones that Charlie has creatively made. So there was a set of those, and there's quite a few on there, but also some beautiful card ones as well from Charlie. So beautiful floss drops, and I think probably I'm going to start using these on perhaps big projects, big special projects. And I really love that Charlie has a hole for the floss, and then she does have another little hole for perhaps can't see that one as well because I've got a top on that's the same colour, but you can see there's the 2 holes, so that works really well. But there wasn't just a table gift from Charlie, there was also a belated birthday present. So Charlie had used that chart from Yasmin and made me a little cushion, so to my friend, and she can't forget the fact that I'm 50 next year. So lovely Charlie had also put a 50 on it for me. So I did think, I first of all looked at it and thought it was my initials and thought she'd got my initials wrong. But no, it's a 50. That's what I'm going to tell everyone. I might have to change my name so nobody knows that I'm 50. But a lovely, lovely little heart, which I absolutely adore. So that was just the most perfect birthday present from Charlie. Thank you. But it didn't stop there. She'd already, now Charlie knows I love chickens. I have my 2 now, chickens. And she'd seen this tea towel and thought, oh, I could use the fabric for that. So she's made it. So machine embroidered my name, and I've got a little handmade by Charlie Feathers. It's a little thread bed. So absolutely, Charlie, thank you. Beautiful lady. Really, really pleased with my little birthday present. So thank you very, very much. I also had a table present from Hazel. Now this was great. Little bag from Hazel. So a lot of things went into this little bag, and she'd tied it with a hair bubble. Now that was very useful because it got used quite a few times over the weekend to tie my hair up. Because it was very hot at some points, and needed to get my hair out of my eyes. So in my little bag from Hazel, there was a little tiny frog. So this is a little pin cushion, and I guess this is a little thread bed there that you could put your thread on as well for it not to disappear. So this is going to come, it's beautifully, beautifully made. Hazel, you're just absolutely amazing. So this is going to sit on my little stitching table up here. Some little frog in there. There was also a little, and I haven't untied this yet, I'm dying to untie it and look at the fabric, a little bundle of fabrics, which I'm dying to have a look at, and I'll perhaps use these to make a little quilt front maybe for a project bag, or use them for finishing things. I'm not sure. We'll open that and see. And then there were also some more floss drops, and these are Christmassy ones, so this will go on a Christmassy project. And there was also in the same theme. So later, so Hazel, so that was the initial present from Hazel, but Hazel's little presents didn't stop. Hazel was very generous, and I think Hazel is retired, so I think really enjoys spending her time making things. So I did have a bookmark to go match my floss drops, but then also I had a little bag from Hazel. Oh, that was my thread that had held my present from Charlie together. So a little bag from Hazel with I love the little salt box style barn. So a little bag that I can just use for, I don't know what I'm going to keep in that, but that just, maybe my little scissors actually, when I go, my little tiny, I'll probably keep my little tiny stalk scissors in that. It's really handy little size. But also another one with, I think is this a pinwheel? People who quilt, is that pinwheel? And actually I think I have got some of that fabric, and I think I've got some of this fabric. I think they're both Moda fabrics. So a little, that's a great little travel wallet to put a mini project in, perhaps when you're going away. So thank you, Hazel. And then one final thing from Hazel. Hazel bought a chart that she thought I might like. So this is the drawn thread, and this is the kitchen garden, and this is one that I have admired for quite a while. Really like that one, and it's one Hazel hasn't stitched it, I believe, and it's one of those that she just had made up her mind that she didn't think she would, so she kindly gifted that to me. What's next? So I got there, so I was there at 9, which meant I got there in time to put my small on the I'm just going to I've got a little list in front of me. I'm just going to fold this up so I can see it a little bit better without looking down. Oh no, it's not going to work. Oh well. So I'd got there in time that I could give in my smalls exchange to make sure it was on the smalls table for I think at 11 o'clock. Marie was going to start announcing that that tables could go up and pick what they wanted off the small table, and everything was wrapped beautifully. Just there were some little cases. Charlie had her eye on there was 2 little cases, and she's like, oh, I really like one of those. I think she thought one of the girls might really like one of them. And so we were sat quite close to the where the smalls exchange were being put, so we were kind of eyeing up what was on that smalls table. So I think we were the second table, the first or second table that got called up, actually. So Charlie, I think, immediately went and had a look at both of the cases, and you would put you'd actually put what you thought. So if there was a theme to your gift, so my little music gives my soul wings was a little bird. So actually I'd found a piece of fabric that was a bird, and I'd cut around the bird and put the bird on as the kind of label so that everyone knew it was a bird. And so with lots of, there were a few Christmas packages. I think Sarah showed hers that was one of the Brenda Gervais love notes little cushions, and there was on the front of hers, it was a little red bag with a heart cookie cutter. And I saw one and I thought, well, that is something stitchy. It was a big envelope, it was flat, and it had stitchy stickers on it, and I thought, that's going to be something stitchy. And yeah, I'd quite like something stitchy. So I picked up this envelope, and look what I got. So this is a freebie from Teresa Koga. This pattern, it says create, and well, create every day. You can just see that's in a I think that's possibly a Krynic, actually. Can you see the everyday in silver, the sparkle there? So I got this and absolutely thrilled, and with it came a little sending sunshine your way card with a little note on the back. So it's a rainbow conversion, and it was stitched by Lisa. And Lisa on Instagram is, I'm going to butcher this now, I'm afraid, Lisa. So Lisa is from Germany, and her Instagram is at mir underscore rechts underscore ich underscore ger underscore bastelen. I won't have said that right, but I'm going to put it down below so that if any of you would like to go and have a look at Lisa's Instagram, you can. So this, absolutely beautiful, and in it were some sweeties that have been eaten, German Haribo. So they've some more of the lovely stickers that Lisa had decorated the envelope with. So stitchy things, which are lovely and bright, and scissors. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these, but there will be something, and a lovely little pair of stalky scissors, and a little Now I believe these are when you frog, you use this just to brush away the bits of thread, and I hadn't got one, and I think it'll be very useful because, you know, I frog now and again. So that was what I had from Lisa. Absolutely thrilled. And as I was busy opening that, I didn't see who'd gone and picked up what my exchange. So it took a while. I went and had a picture with Lisa, which was great. So I'll pop that in here so you can see me with Lisa. And didn't see who'd picked up my small. And eventually Tina came over and said, "Oh, I got yours and I love it." And it was only tiny. I was a bit, oh, it's quite small. There were some, you know, for a smalls exchange, there were some quite big, big stitches there. But Tina loved it. Here's a picture of Tina and I. And Tina is at Tiny Cozy Library on Instagram. So it was lovely. Tina was thrilled with it. I'd also put in a little bag that I'd made and a few stitchy things, some sweeties, I think some floss drops, and some buttons. So I think I'd shown you some buttons that from on my last Flosstube that I'd bought, and I bought 2 sets, and 1 set went in with Lisa's gift. Tina's gift, sorry. So that was absolutely really lovely to do an exchange, and I've already got plans for next year of what I want to stitch. So, but there were also some lovely ladies who came and dropped stuff off at our table. So lovely lady who I think her name is Luda came and said, "Oh, you haven't had one of these yet, please will you pick one?" And this lovely scissor fob, and she said, "Oh, I'm afraid there's some spiders left." And I was like, oh, I like spiders. So I got a little beautiful scissor fob with a little spider on the bottom, and I love this. So I might use that on my scissors that I had from Lisa, actually. So really love that. So thank you, Luda. That was beautiful. Then this came from Claire, who is the Opal Stitcher on Instagram. Go and have a follow of Claire. And a lovely bit of ring bling. So with a little sewing machine on. And then 2023 and a little handmade. Can you see that? 2023. Hopefully you can see that, but that was lovely. And then also some little, so a little bee charm on a little kind of little I want to say paper clip, but it's not a paper clip, a little safety pin, a little pin, bulb pin. And actually I think I might put this, I've got a Barbara the bee lady, I think I might use that on to finish that off. And also look at this button, which is on a little, also on a little pin, but I might use that on a stitchy project, on my Puntini one. There we go, you can see that, can't you? So absolutely gorgeous. So thank you very much, Claire. Absolutely thrilled to receive those. And then I bumped into a poor lady poor lady in the loo not long after I'd arrived. I think I'd kind of settled it, got my stuff in, and that I've got to go to the loo. And the poor Kerry from Roxy Floss Co came out of the loo as I came out, and I was like, oh Kerry, hi, I'm Sally. And I think yes, she might have been a bit overwhelmed by my enthusiasm, but you know, I was just so relieved to be there and so excited. But anyway, Kerry later came over and gifted me a Roxy Floss Co needle minder with the lovely Roxy parrot there. So that was absolutely thrilling. And I had taken with me, I'm going to put a picture up here of Kerry and I had taken my maximum cross stitch, which I'd stitched on Roxy Floss fabric and with Roxy Floss thread, and I'd taken it specifically to show Kerry. So Kerry was kind enough to humour me with a photograph of me holding that piece that I'd taken for her to see. So that was just, it was really nice to meet you, Kerry, and you know, so wonderful that you could come over from London in Canada to London in the UK and meet us all. And I'm sure I'm going to meet you again at some other point, and hopefully meet Caroline as well. But that was just a thrill. That really was lovely. And then, so I met Sarah, and Sarah from Sew Me Sarah, and you know, we've had conversations on Instagram, you know, on Messenger, and you know, chatted about our big challenge for next year. And Sarah a couple of times said, "Oh, I'll come over and see you at some point. I'm going to come over." And eventually she came over and she sat down next to me and we had a chat, and she gifted me the most gorgeous project bag. So this is a Laurie Holt panel that she stitched, and she has quilted some of the, I think she's quilted on the house, and it's just, oh yeah, there's some quilting across the back, and she's made a little, and then inside there's also a little card from Sarah and a gorgeous floss ring, a huge nice big one. So this will be for a big project, maybe one of our 50th, our actual birthday starts, with a beautiful flower on, and just a beautiful little card just to gift me this project bag, which will be used next year on our challenge. So thank you so much, Sarah. That was just such a lovely surprise, and I'm just so excited. I'm excited about turning 50. When we sat down and chat, I said to Sarah, I'm really not looking forward to turning 50. I don't feel that I don't feel that old, but it's not old, and I hope I'm not offending anyone who's over 50, but I just don't feel, yeah. But actually I'm really excited about it now because we have this exciting challenge. So yeah, it's all great. It's all absolutely fantastic. So those were all my lovely bits of stitchy kindness, and I'm just moving things down the ironing board so I can find them, get them a bit more easily. A stitchy kindness and really lovely gifts that people have given me while I was at Stitch in London. But next haul, yeah, quite a bit of money. I was really lucky actually that my partner had my birthday at the end of September. My partner had said, I don't know what to get you. Would you like some cash that you can take to Stitch in London so you can buy what you'd like there? Yes, perfect, absolutely perfect. So that was an absolutely great idea. So I think the first thing I bought, unfortunately, Charlie, there'd been a number of people who had been vendors on the Friday, and I hadn't managed to obviously get there on the Friday, so I hadn't been able to see their stalls. But Charlie kindly showed me her wares in her bedroom, and that sounds a bit dodgy, doesn't it? And I had bought a little bit of ring bling from Charlie. That's beautiful. I really struggled to find something, you know, to pick one of the beautiful things that Charlie had. There were just so many. There were so many. And I also, so Sophie from the Stitchy Ferret was there and had some beautiful threads. She had some beautiful fabric as well, but predominantly even weave. And so I didn't buy fabric, but I did buy some thread. So this is a lovely 20-meter piece of thread, which is called Witchy Nights, and I'm not sure what I'm going to stitch with that, but I just liked it, so I bought it. And I think, you know, beautiful, just the variegation in that, is gorgeous. So I'm sure there is going to be something Halloweeny at some point that I will stitch with that. Actually, I was lying in bed thinking about my stitching a night or two ago, and I did think actually there's a bit along the bottom of the Supernatural Sal. There's little doodahs along the bottom border. I might look okay to use that. We'll see. And then I did also buy a mini. Colour isn't showing brilliantly well on that actually. It's kind of pale purple and pink. That's better. So some lovely variegation on that as well. Really lovely colour. And again, not sure what I'll stitch with that, but actually Yaz's To My Friend pattern might look really, really good on that. So there might be a couple of friends that are getting that for gifts at some point. Megan from Coffee Craft Fabrics was there, and she did have some linen. So I bought 2 flat quarters of 40 count linen. So she had some lovely 36 counts linens, which would be my normal colours, or my normal count. I do like stitching on 40, but actually I felt the 40, I liked the colours of the 40 better, and there was more mottling in them, which I think really appeals to me when I'm buying a hand dyed fabric, the amount of mottling. So I bought 2 pieces. Yeah, they're not named, are they? So Megan doesn't name her fabrics. That's looking, this is so blues, greys, really gorgeous. I think if I go that way, that's better. There we go. Really gorgeous. The mottling on this is amazing. So that is a fat quarter of 40 count linen. I do not know what I will stitch on that, but I will find something. Actually, there's so this and the other piece, either of these would be good for the Teresa Kogert Halloween sampler, which I have got. So that one, and I also bought this one. So either of these fabrics I think would be great for that. And this is more pinky. The other one was more blue. This is more pink. Let's fold it in half so we've not got the light. That might be better. There we go. Again, absolutely gorgeous mottling on this. Different on both sides. Absolutely loved it. So I think either of those pieces would be great for the Teresa Kogert Halloween. But I think, yeah, I think either of those and both of them will be wonderful for whatever I plan to do with those. I did buy, so I can make project bags, but one thing I decided I couldn't make was a folder. I've never used vinyl to make a project bag with. I've always just done a normal Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch bag. But so Ness from Ness Crafts, and there's a needle. That's a needle I've used. Let me put it on my before I leave, before I forget it's there and I'm short a needle. So Ness Craft Room made this beautiful project folders. So I purchased one of those. Really lovely. Little made with love things on the, and they zip. There's 2 zips either side, so plenty of room that you could probably put a project or 2. And I think during my 50 starts for 50 there will be a few project bags that have to have more than one project in. So I was absolutely thrilled with that. And that's, I think I walked in and Charlie came over to me and I saw these and went, and she'd bought one already and said, oh, I don't think Nessa's got very many left, she's only just opened. because they were going like absolute hotcakes. So I ran over and I picked one. I said, Ness, I'll come back for it. I just need to sort myself out, find my credit card, and I'll be back for it. And she saved it for me, and yeah, absolutely loved it. I think she sold out of bags and things really, really quickly. So Marie also had some things on sale, and this is a chart that I'd been really admiring ever since it was released by Liz Matthews, The Pumpkin House, and it was on Marie's desk as I signed in, and I just was like, yes, I've got to have that. So that was a bit of an impulse buy, but absolutely loved it. And I'm really embarrassed. I've watched Michelle from Mama Loves You GB about an hour before I started filming, and she bought that and also another chart that I've picked as well. I'm not copying, honest. Completely unknowns to me that she bought them as well. Kelly from Crossford Rise Stitchery, unfortunately I'd missed her as well on the Friday. She'd been a vendor, but I'd said to her, there's a chart of yours I really like, and again I'd been admiring it for a long time, and it's Merry Christmas to All, absolutely beautiful. And unfortunately Kelly had to leave early on the Saturday, and I realised she was leaving and said to her, I would like to buy that chart if you've got one to hand, and luckily she had them in her rucksack and pulled it out, and I was able to buy that off her. So really pleased. That was one of my pre-planned purchases. And then another slightly pre-planned purchase had been some Roxy Floss Co. floss. So, and I'm not quite sure, there were 8 that I had gone on the website. Marie had sent out an email and said, you know, we are getting a supply of some Roxy Floss in, and if you would like to order any, go on the website and fill in this form. I've just dropped one, excuse me, I've dropped 2. Fill in this form and tell us what you would like to be sent over. So I ordered 8, and then I bought another 10. Beautiful colours. Inappropriate, I think, is a much loved one. Pink 182, I think Sarah showed this as well. Sarah, Pink 182, I think, is a play on the name of Blink 182, which is a rock band. Sarah was querying the name of that in her. I've bought some beautiful reds, and I've bought quite a lot of just one of each of these colours, and you know, maybe at some point I'll regret that and wish I'd have bought a couple of each. If I want to do a big chart in one colour, I think I might perhaps have to rethink. But I really, when I went through the website, I looked for things with lots of variegation, just to wash denim. That I thought was a great one. Some really good variegation on that, and 11 points as well. That's a lovely. So just yeah, lovely collection of and I just must show you this one. I really like this one. Is called Strawberry Taffy, and I think you know, taffy, I think that's quite a Welsh word, taffy. So just that was a special one to buy. So yeah, have a lovely collection of Roxy Floss there that I'm going to try and incorporate where I can into charts, and there's a few there that have got some lovely variegation that I think I will use on quite a few, you know, smalls perhaps, that I'm just doing monochrome in one colour next year. So really pleased with those. On the Sunday there was a destash table, and I was really lucky that I bought this from the lovely Hilary, Strawberry Harvest from Cottage Garden Samplings, and this is a pattern that I've always admired, I've always really liked, and so when I saw it on the table I couldn't resist. And then I didn't take anything for the freebies table. If you could take some stuff for the freebies table, put it on. So if you took 3 items, you could then take 3 items off the freebies table. And when everybody had been and picked, there were a few things that stayed on the freebies table for probably 24 hours on. So on the Sunday, there are a few things still left, and I picked up. So anyone anyone was then able to go, and it was a bit of a free-for-all. But one of the things that kind of sat there looking a bit forlorn was a copy of The World of Cross Stitching, and there was a chart in here that I quite liked and thought might look quite nice on linen, and it's that one. I quite liked that, which is designed by Jenny van der Wiel. So it was a winter design. So this is The World of Cross Stitching, and it is, what issue is it? Oh, can't see it easily. Doesn't say. Does it say? Oh, terribly sorry. It doesn't actually say what issue it is. December issue, but I don't know if that is this year or last year. Don't know. But anyway, so I picked that up at one point, and then on the Sunday of Stitch in London, there were 3 classes that you could attend, and my the ironing board is just collapsing. Let's just, there we go. Sorry, I think it's okay. There were 3 classes that were running. The first one was Michelle from Mama Loves You GB, who did a class on finishing on perforated paper, and unfortunately I would have quite liked to have done that class, but I didn't have anything. I've never stitched on perforated paper, so I didn't have anything, and yeah, it was just one of those, run out of time, and I could have bought some off Marie at she had some for sale, and just, yeah, time. But anyway, and then Yasmin did one, which was a class on finishing pillows. Much debate, I believe, on table 9 between Whitney and the Brits on whether it was a pillow or a cushion, and Whitney believes it's a pillow, but all the Brits said it's a cushion because you use a pillow for sleeping. I kind of am with Whitney that it's a pillow. Anyway, so I did that class with Yaz, and the last one I think was with Roz Clark Crafts, and she was making a little book with her group. So I did the little class with Yasmin on finishing, and this isn't quite finished. So we learned techniques of putting chenille on, putting beads on with your chenille, putting rickrack, and all the different things and different ways that you can finish little cushions. So I was quite determined to try and finish my chenille on my little Brenda Gervais cushion, but as you can see, it's not quite finished, and actually I think because I was rushing in the class, I didn't quite get my corners as neat as I wanted, and there's a few bits on the back where you can see the thread. So I haven't finished, and I think I'm going to unpick it and do it again and do it a little bit more neatly. But it was really, really good. I think if you can remember, I showed you I'd bought some Sidar Happy chenille wool a couple of months ago, maybe a couple of floss tubes ago, and I'd not really thought how do I put it on, what do I quite do, and I'm sure I could have gone along and watched somebody on YouTube, no doubt, who would show me. But actually it was really, really nice to do a class with Yasmin. There were Charlie did it, Rosie did it, another lady whose name I can't remember, and of course Whitney. I sat next to Whitney, so had a really good chat to Whitney, and there might be plans afoot for another retreat. Whitney and I need to chat about that, and for next year. And so really, really enjoyed that. So I am going to redo it, but that was fabulous. And then Yaz kindly gifted a chart to everyone who attended the class. So I had Animals on Parade, which is gorgeous, and actually the models have been stitched by my friend Kim, who is Stitchy Squirrels, and this was the pattern that Michelle from Mama Loves You GB she also bought it. So yeah, we have similar tastes, obviously. So really, really pleased with that one. Then there was one, I told you about the haul I bought, so that was all of my Stitch in London haul, but I'd showed you the little bit of haul I'd bought before I went, which was the Nerd hoops, but I also had some fabric, so a fat quarter of this lovely pumpkin fabric. My friend Anna lives in near Nantwich, and she she goes into So I Did, which is in Nantwich, and she's quite friendly with the owner, Claire, who I believe is a neighbour of hers. So she went in and she sent me a little video of all the Halloween autumny fabric and said, let me know what you'd like and I'll pop it in the post for you. And that was one of the ones she sent, and there was also some other things, but they are secret, so I can't show you those because they're probably going to be gifted at some point to somebody, some lucky recipient. But I loved that pumpkin one, so that was one which I'm actually just thinking that would probably look really lovely as the backing on those little charts. So wow, what a time, what a weekend I had. It was just amazing, and it was lovely to, I like to think my old friends were people that I've been chatting to on Zoom calls and on Instagram for the last however long. So they felt like old friends. It felt like, Charlie, Yasmin, it felt like seeing an old friend. It was as if it wasn't as if we were meeting in person for the first time. It really wasn't. It was like, you're an old friend and I'm catching up with you again. So it was so lovely. But then it was so lovely to meet new people, to meet Sarah, to meet Michelle, Mama Loves You GB. She came and sat on our table on the Sunday afternoon and stitched with us for a while. Hazel, it was lovely to meet. It was lovely to meet Kerry. Libby had breakfast with us one day. That was lovely. And Karen, whose name I kept getting wrong. Stitchy Rach, that was lovely. Stitchy Rach, I went over and talked to her table, and she said, oh, I need to watch you on Flosstube. Everyone's talking about you and I've never watched you. And I was like, oh, wow, everyone's talking about me. It just, felt amazing. And just meeting people, making plans for meeting up. I think I talked to Kirsty from Crafting Kirsty, and her son's at university in Liverpool, and she comes up to a shop that's nearby, or she'd like to visit a shop that's nearby that I've visited before. And so plans of, oh well, if you come, let's meet and have a coffee, let's meet and have lunch, and just little community, building a community. And it was absolutely fantastic. And I'm sorry if there's anyone whose name I have forgotten to mention, because I talked to so many people and had made so many connections, and it was truly wonderful. And I think if you can get to a retreat and meet some like-minded lovely stitchy people, you won't regret it, because it is wonderful. It is really wonderful to share a weekend with like-minded people and make some new friends. It really is. So it was wonderful to meet all of you that I met, and I'm sure there are going to be many more retreats to come where I will meet more people and enjoy spending time with more of you lovely stitchers out there. So I think this might be my longest Flosstube ever. It has just been, it was a great weekend, and it's wonderful to talk about it. So many wonderful plans coming up for 2024. I'm so excited. So don't forget to make some comments down below of any themes or prompts that you think Sarah and I could use. No bananas. Maybe we should say no fruit. Maybe. And thank you if you've got this far. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting me, and I hope you'll see me in another 2 weeks. Hopefully we'll get lots more stitching done to show you. And yeah, it's been great to talk to you. Just having a quick flick through my notes, which are right in front of me. I think I've talked about everything that I was going to talk about. So I shall see you soon. Happy stitching, everybody. Take care and stay safe and well. And I shall see you soon. Bye bye.